And as always, I have great information from you brought to you by amazing experts. And I'm so excited about our show today. We have a friend of mine from Australia, all the way from down under, to provide incredible information, to have a conversation about, like, how do we prime our mind for success? Her area of expertise is productivity joy, and I love how she brings joy to every interaction that she has, and how we're going to talk about that today. So let me tell you about our guest expert today. Today we have Simi Rayat, who is an award-winning global business psychologist, a widely published international author. Over the last 2 decades, Simi has worked with hundreds of leaders and business owners to 10x their leadership impact. And I think leadership impact is something so important for advisors to think about, but I don't think that's normally how the industry thinks about the work that you do, but you're actually impacting your clients, of course, your team, and being an amazing leader is so important for business success. Simi's been recognized as one of Australia's top leadership coaches. Her clients include Fortune 500 companies, multinational financial and professional service firms, and scaling financial enterprises in Australia and the UK. Simi's the founder of a thriving psychology consulting and coaching practice called simirayat.com, and the former founder and owner of Minds for the Future. She's a regular thought leader on Forbes, a keynote speaker and facilitator. And to add on top of that, her husband apparently is super handsome. I have not yet met him, and she's got 2 gorgeous young boys, which I have no doubt about. So, Simi, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here with us today.
Oh, thank you, Ellen. It's so wonderful to be here with you, and what a beautiful introduction. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
I'm so excited. So I know you have a new book coming out in September, and we're recording this ahead of that, called Productivity Joy: Be Effective and Feel Energized in 5 minutes a day. Like, how awesome is that, to just boost our mindset and our energy in that short amount of time? And I know in our conversations, you've talked about that you have this 5 Qs formula that you found so impactful for the advisors that you work with, the other types of entrepreneurs, and the work you do in corporations. So I'm really curious about, like, how you develop that and what does it actually entail?
Yeah, look, thank you, Ellen. The 5 Qs formula I started to develop 4 years ago when I was living in the UK. It was pre-pandemic. And I actually found myself in a phase of life where I was juggling my own business, working crazy hours, managing a family. I've got 2 young boys, and life felt like a grind. It really felt stressful. I felt overwhelmed quite often. And when I was working with my clients, that a lot of them were leaders, managers, and business owners, I was hearing the same thing. They were also feeling that, oh my goodness, I feel stuck. I feel, caught in this daily kind of grind of work and home. And I really wish there was something that could help me at the start of my day that would prime my mindset so that I could achieve everything that I needed to do. Because as you know, Ellen, we all have these really long to-do lists, and quicker than we can tick something off, we've got 3 or 4 other things piling onto that list. And at the end of the day, it leaves you feeling really unsatisfied and unfulfilled. So, I thought to myself, well, hold on a second. One, I actually don't feel like I'm a joy to be around because I'm stressed and I'm burnt out and I'm not really living and thriving how I really wanted to be. And I've been a psychologist for 20 years, Ellen. I've been helping a lot of my clients thrive. But hold on a second, why was I not thriving? And that's when I realized that I wasn't actually using the tools that I knew to be able to really prime my mind. And then doing research, the research shows that, unfortunately, and it's very shocking, the statistics show that 82% of working professionals and business owners globally are feeling stressed, burnt out. and just exhausted. And when we feel like this, productivity completely declines. How can we do our best work and do what matters when we feel like this? Not only that, it's costing US organizations $1.9 trillion
Wow.
every year for this lack of productivity. And even more than that, Ellen, I really believe that it robs us all of our daily joy. So this is why I thought, well, actually, I've got to use my experience, um, my insights, and what can I develop to really help people prime themselves at the start of their day. And that's why I developed the 5 Qs formula.
So you were talking about 82% of workers, did you say experience stress? What was the?
Are currently experiencing stress, burnout, and are at risk of decline well-being.
Yeah. So there was a statistic I saw right near the start of the pandemic where advisors, financial advisors, have 43% more stress than the regular population. So even though many of our listeners are self-employed and you think, oh, they have a little bit more flex, that's not necessarily the case. So can you share with us the 5 Qs? And then we can maybe talk about how advisors can use this in their to boost their productivity and joy.
Yeah, absolutely. So the book Productivity Joy goes into detail on each of the steps of the 5 Qs formula. But I think it's really helpful. I want as many people to know about the 5 Qs formula so they can start applying it. And the way that I've developed it is for it to be really practical and accessible. It's backed by psychological science, and there's a lot of research behind the 5 Qs formula. But when clients have used the 5 Qs formula, they've really felt and have shared with me that it's made them feel so much more intentional. Mm. It's helped them get more done each day, but not just get more done, but really what matters. And, and then able to kind of leave the rest that doesn't matter, that doesn't really move the dial for them. And then also it really helps them be more present and connected. And I think that's the beauty of it, Ellen, is the sense that, whoever you engage with, whether it's your customers, your stakeholders, your clients, your family and your loved ones, your friends, if we're able to be so much more intentional and connected in each of those interactions, the impact that we can have and how we leave others feeling is just magical. And that's where I get really, really excited about the 5 Qs formula. So I'm happy to share, the very kind of high level, because I think it's really important for people to understand the research, to understand how the questions specifically work, so that they can then start applying it at the start of their day. Right. Oh, and the beauty is, Ellen, it only takes 5 minutes to go through the formula at the start of your day. And a great way to remember the 5 questions is through the acronym PRIME. So the 5 steps are, the P is we start with pinpointing what our emotions are and our feelings. The premise behind this is at the start of the day, like, we are emotional beings. We like to think, especially as financial advisors, that we're really logical and we're rational, but we are just essentially all full of energy. Mm. And if we're not connecting with our emotions and our feelings at the start of the day, it's very easy for us to, sorry, my little person is here.
We have a guest. Right. We have a guest with our guest, a cameo appearance.
So yes, in the start of the day, if we're not connecting with our emotions, those emotions will surface throughout our day in our interactions with our clients and who we're engaging with. So really important to pinpoint what you're feeling, and I give a tool to help you take your emotional temperature at the start of the day. Cool. The R is for recognizing gratitude. Now, when we recognize gratitude, we actually increase our dopamine levels and serotonin levels in our brain. We change our brain chemistry. And the research shows that even if we spend just a short amount, it could be even as little as 2 minutes a day, recognizing gratitude. Now, Ellen, I don't mean that, it's writing down the things that you're grateful for. The research and how we've developed the formula is asking very specifically for you to think about who in your life are you grateful for, because they inspire you to be a better version of yourself. So, for example, it might be a client that you're working with, and they could be so you know, complimentary with their feedback on the service that you've offered, or how much you've helped their family, have opportunities to increase their wealth and live life to really a high level of fulfillment. Who are those people that you're grateful for because they help you be a better version of yourself and help you be a better advisor? So that's the R around recognizing gratitude. The I is identifying what are the things in your environment that are working well and what are the things that could be working better. Now, at the start of the day, if we can just be really real with ourselves, this is so important because there'll be just small things in your environment. It might be that you manage to have a really good night's sleep.
I would love to imagine that.
Being a mum of 2 young kids, Ellen, I'm the same. If we can just, be grateful for just even those small micro things in a start of our day, what it does is it primes your brain to look for even more of those small things. Often we're so busy to even, notice the roses, let alone smell them. Mm. So this part of the question, part of the formula really helps you just even pinpoint and identify just 1 or 2 things that are working well and that also could be working better for you. Because we've got to be real. We don't always, very often we don't live in an ideal environment. And especially as business owners, not everything goes to plan. We don't always have all the resources and the team and the support around us. But if we can just start to be grateful and recognize what could be working better. So that's the importance of asking yourself the question of what is working well and what could be working better. Then let's move on to the M in the prime. The M is really, let's say, bye to making long lists. No one wants to have a long to-do list. It just feels yuck and whoa. The M helps you really focus on what are the 3 things that will help you have the biggest impact in your day. And identifying what those 3 key things are that you're going to focus on helps to keep you really focused, intentional. And when you've done those 3 things, let everything else go. You've done your thing. You've done your thing for the day. Why do we need to keep going? And if we think about it, if we're working a 5-day week, we're doing 3 high impact things in a day, 15 things we've achieved in a week, 60 things in a month. So this is a really good way just to really simplify what we need to focus on each day. And then the E, Ellen, is all about envisioning how we want to show up, because the key really here is to think about, what is the energy that we want to bring to our day? Because quite often people get to experience your energy before they get to even relate to or connect with what you say. We have these emotion energy detectors. We all do. So being able to really think about how you want to show up for the day really helps you set that intention. And, that's the 5 cues, asking and responding to those questions each day at the start of your day helps you be effective and feel energized.
That's so great. And I know that many of the advisors that I coach and work with before, or been through my master classes before we start working together, the first thing they do to start their day is this, or they'll turn on the
Yeah.
news. And why is that not a good? I held up, for those of you just listening, I held up my phone. Why is that, from your research, like not necessarily the best way to start your day?
So if we think about it, our brains are the most malleable in the morning, at the start of the day. It's such a prime opportunity to really set your focus and what your brain is going to attend to. If we miss that opportunity by, reaching out for our phones, we're really open to whatever comes up on our feed. And I like to think of it that actually we're just giving our influence and our power away at the start of the day. And so I encourage my clients to, and I do this as well, leave your phone in a separate room at night. So it's away from you, it's physically away from you, out of sight, out of mind. I know many of us use our phones for our alarm clocks. But, even if it means just getting a digital alarm clock or something else that will wake you up in the morning that's other than your phone, can be really, really helpful, because then you can actually really prime your brain at the start of the day before it is influenced and shaped very unconsciously when we are scrolling randomly through our phones.
Yeah, I'm a fan of that recommendation, because I know a few times I'm a big meditator in the morning. I'm very
Yeah,
um, deliberate about how I start my day and kind of possessive about it. But a couple
that's great.
times, if all of a sudden I'll get up and meditate and not get out of bed and start looking at my emails, I can feel almost like things shutting down or
Yes,
contracting versus how I felt right before that. So it's never a helpful thing for me to do. So this idea of priming your mind for peak performance, I think you've alluded to why, through the research, why gratitude, or in checking in on our feelings, or envisioning how we want our energy to be during the day, which I absolutely love that. I don't think advisors think that much about the energy they're showing up with, but whenever we talk about that, they're like, oh, yeah, like this is how I want to.
yeah,
It's not hard for them to think about how they'd like to show up, but I don't think they think about it much. But
yeah.
so for business performance and relationships with clients and your team, why is this so important, Simi?
It's hugely important because at the end of the day, people connect with people. People do business with people that they know, like, and trust. And priming your mindset really enables you to be present, to be that best version of you, bring your best energy, and come with real intention and deliberate focus. And this is so critical in any business interaction. At the end of the day, for clients to trust their advisors, they need to know, one, that their advisors are real and authentic, that they're being themselves, that they
Mhm.
have their interests at heart, they have their best interests, that they care. So how can we be empathetic to others when we haven't really taken care of our own selves? So the 5 Qs formula really helps you take care of your own self at the start of the day. And then thirdly, um, by being present and priming your brain, you're able to really just be in that moment and share what's of relevance and communicate in a way which really connects with the person in front of you.
I um, also am hearing that this being present and being able to connect is some ways is about kind of quieting our own chatter, 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 so you can actually hear what the other person's saying, and know when to be like to raise your empathy, because you're being able to key in with them versus just on yourself. Is that something you've experienced as well, Simi?
Absolutely, Ellen. You're so right. It is about, how can we really truly be there for others and bring joy to others, bring, real impact to others and help others. If at the start of the day, we've not been able to do that for ourselves. So this is a, very accessible and practical way to take care of yourself first,
Mm.
to prime your mind, take care of your well-being, allow you in the best way possible to be as effective as you can. And then in that way, you can have more of a ripple effect to everyone else that you interact with.
Yeah. How beautiful to even have that intention to be able to bring joy to the people around you. And this seems so obvious, and yet advisors will tell me, oh, I have a hard time keeping good staff. And because if you're not focused on bringing joy and making it a lovely place for the people around you, they might not want to be around you. And it seems to me such a logical but deliberate way to build better relationships, which of course are going to lead to more referrals and more income for you. Yeah.
Absolutely. And when we talk about being a joy to work for and do business with, essentially what it really comes down to, Ellen, is helping people feel seen, heard, recognized, and valued.
Mm.
And when people feel like this, because we all have this human need to feel that we're significant. And if we're able to, one, do that for ourselves at the start of the day by going through the prime formula, the 5 Qs formula, but if we're then able to do that for those around us, essentially what we're doing is we are helping others experience themselves in the best way possible. And that's why they then perceive you to be a joy, to be around, do business with, and to work with.
Cool. So can you give a couple tips? I heard so far, like even just focusing for a couple minutes on the people that you're grateful for in your life. Can you give us a few other tips to put into practice right away to start to grow our muscles, to prime our minds?
Love that question. Look, I think the really key one is to be checking in at the start of the day with your emotional temperature.
Mm.
What are your emotions that you're feeling this morning? And how are you feeling? Because quite often when you ask someone, how are you feeling? I'm good. I'm
Fine.
fine. Yeah, let's get more explicit about, how are we feeling? Because the more we can connect with how we're feeling, I'm not asking you at the start of the day to question why you're feeling that way and try and resolve it. All your brain really needs, and your body, is the acknowledgement. Just like a child, when they're wanting our attention, is, um, trying to get our attention in different ways. All they essentially want is to be acknowledged,
Mm.
to know that we've seen them, we hear them, and that's fine. It's the same thing with our emotions and feelings. As soon as we do that, you'll be surprised, but whatever feeling and emotion you're experiencing at that time, it will just settle. It won't resurface or kind of pop up in another point in the day. It may do if they're very strong feelings, but I would then recommend allow yourself, a time in the day. I call it a worry time. Maybe 7 o'clock in the evening, 8 o'clock, not just before you go to bed, avoid that time, but just, 10 minutes of worry time where you know that if those feelings are still, there for you, they're still present, maybe you need to spend a little bit of time just to focus on them. But you can do that in your worry time. In that way, you can then focus on everything else you need to that day.
Mm.
There's just some strategies that will help you hack the way your brain works. The more that we know these hacks, the more we can just manage our brain and prime our brain in the right way.
Okay, one last thought you want to leave us with, one last either tip or thing to remember that maybe we've talked about or maybe you haven't shared yet, Simi.
Look, I think But the biggest thing I would say is life's too short for us just to be surviving. This is why I'm on a mission, Ellen, to help 5 million people, 5 million busy professionals globally move from that state of surviving that I was 4 years ago to thriving. Because in this way, we can all experience doing more of what matters to us and less of the stuff that doesn't. We can magnify our joy, and essentially we can all be 5% more awesome each day. And I think the ripple effect of that is so, so exciting. And this is how collectively we can elevate humanity.
Oh, I love that. Okay, I'm in 5% more awesome every single day. That should be a t-shirt. Be
I love that.
5% more awesome today. That's really cool. Simi, besides getting your book when it's out, which I'll be reminding people about, the Productivity Joy book, how else can people, if they want to follow you or be in touch, bring you over to the US to speak? Like that would be awesome, right?
Would love
Um,
that.
yeah. Yeah. How can they be in touch with you?
Yeah, look, I'm on all socials, so LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, and feel free to reach out directly to me through my website at simirayat.com. And we've got resources and tools on the website as well, articles, podcast episodes. My aim is really to help as many business owners and leaders elevate their leadership impact. So, yeah, please feel free to get in touch.
Great. So please do that. And for those of you that are spelling challenged like me, it's Simi, Simi, Rayat, Rayat.com. And we'll put links to that in our show notes here. And thank you, Simi. So grateful you've spent this time with me today.
Thank you, Ellen. It's been wonderful. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
And for all of you listening and watching, thank you for being here. Again, my name is Ellen Rogin. You can learn more about me at ellenrogin.com / oh, no, you can learn more about me at ellenrogin.com. If you want to download my special report, What Extraordinary Advisors Know That Others Don't, you can go to ellenrogin.com / horse's mouth. And if you're really interested in being a more extraordinary advisor, we are bringing the Extraordinary Advisor Masterclass back to Horse's Mouth, and you can learn more about that at horsesmouth.com / masterclass. And we're going to cover topics like how to communicate with more impact with your clients and how to be more clear on your goals, how to separate yourself from the crowd and talk about your superpower and all sorts of other really great topics. I'd love to talk to you about that if that's something you're interested in. And the question to ponder today is, how are you going to be 5% more awesome today? And remember, be great and create great every